Hello and welcome to Team Reptile's My Wildlife Adventures. As a teacher, I love to give my students the opportunity to experience wildlife in a different setting. For the second year in a row, I was able to take some of my Fenton High School advanced video students up to Cheboygan, Michigan, where we were going to be lucky enough to work with biologists from Michigan State University, the DNR, as well as a great group called Sturgeon for Tomorrow. Before we made it to Cheboygan, however, we decided to make a pit stop in Gaylord to try to find out a little more about a big species of mammal.
So right now we're about to interview Brian Mastenbrook. Rachel Shegas is going to interview him, and we're going to figure out a lot more about the elk here in Gaylord, Michigan. So yeah, let's see how it goes.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here with Brian Mastenbrook, who is an elk specialist with the DNR. So how many elk are located in Michigan?
There are about 700 elk in Michigan at the current time. We did a survey in 2014, January of 2014, and the estimate from that survey was 668, and so we've had some time pass since then. We'll do another survey in 2016, January of 2016, but right now there's probably about 700.
Okay, and what is the range of these elk?
They range over about 900 square miles, maybe 1,000 square miles. Their range changes seasonally and annually, so there's no hard, fast number to that.
Okay, and then are these the only elk in the Midwest?
No, there are other herds in the Midwest. This is the only elk herd in Michigan, but there are other elk herds in the Midwest. There are elk in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Arkansas, Missouri, Tennessee, Kentucky.
Okay, and do elk have any predators?
There are no natural predators in this part of Michigan. If wolves come down here, they would be a predator on elk. Otherwise, the only predator for elk is humans.
All right, and have there been any unusual occurrences with elk recently?
Not really. I mean, if by unusual occurrences, you mean elk living in town. We try and manage to keep elk in their forest land range and out of town, so we haven't had any elk in stores or anything funny like that.
All right, thank you for your time.
We still had another 50 miles or so to go before we got to the rental house on Mullet Lake, but once we arrived, no one seemed to complain anymore about that long drive we had taken. The house is beautiful and everyone loves it. Once we got unpacked and situated, it was time for us to get our whole group together so we could figure out our game plan for the next couple of days.
These are the students. And Miss Fisher and Cody. That was cool.
I thought a great way to start the day might be to take the students looking for some wildlife that maybe they've never seen before.
Oh, there's one. I just saw it.
Where'd it go?
It can be very amusing to watch some of the reactions when we find certain critters.
What is it?
There's a skink.
Probably underground.
There it is.
It's really big.
Oh, I see it. It's right there.
It's under there now. It's right here.
Which one?
Here, I see it.
I don't know if
His
I can
head.
do it.
Oh, he went back under. His tail's sticking
This
out.
thing's gonna roll on him though.
Roll. Mr. Ashley, are you scared it's gonna bite you?
Where's it at?
Oh, it's gone.
It's probably in the dirt.
He's out of here.
Let's start digging. Everyone grab a shovel.
Start digging, yeah.
There
Oh, there it goes.
Where?
Don't scream.
She screams all the time.
Slippery little snake.
Like when things move fast, it's like frogs. Did you get it?
Yeah, I think so. It's gonna bite me, but I don't want his tail to break off. Don't let your tail break off, little fella.
What is it, a salamander?
It's a skink.
Do we get it?
His tail broke off?
What's that? Nope.
Does it hurt?
No.
Oh, he's big. Yeah, that's a big one.
So we just had our first reptile find, and it is actually a five-lined skink. Five-lined skinks are one of the two species of lizards that we have here in Michigan. The other one is a six-line race runner, and they're very, very uncommon. They're very rare. The five-lined skink, however, is heavily populated up here in this region, the Cheboygan County area. They say you can find them all over the state, although I've yet to find them down in our region there in Genesee County. But every time I come up here to Cheboygan, I can always find at least one, and I'd say we were here maybe 3-4 minutes before I found this one. This is a male, I believe. It's hard to tell right now with the coloration. Usually males at this time are a darker rust color. In fact, the more I look at this, there is some blue coloration on the tail, so I actually think I'm wrong. I think this is a female, just dull colors right now. I've never seen one that has been basically this dull of a color one way or the other, especially in the spring, because this is breeding season for them. So usually your males are going to be, like I said, a very dark rust color, almost like a golden tail and a real red body. After I let the skink go, I decided to check out a den that the students were talking about.
Hey, who's got their phone with the GoPro app? We can like see what's down there. Oh, that'd be it.
It's not gonna go in
Don't
far
you have
enough.
it?
Just stick it down there.
My phone's not here. Swing actually has it.
Back up at the skunk hole.
No, I'm just kidding.
I'm getting
Well, yeah, I'm gonna fall down this
Walk
ravine.
through.
That's not a ravine.
Any idea what that hole would be for? Anybody got a guess?
Something moved in there.
Did it really?
Scared.
Yeah, let me see.
I think it moved unless I touched something. We'll make sure it's recording still.
A couple of them seemed a little nervous, so I decided to have a little fun.
Look at this.
This could be YouTube gold.
Holy crap! No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
After that little scare, I thought it might be nice to show the students something they're a little more familiar with.
The warts are actually called parotoid. Listen close. The warts are called parotoid glands. They carry a poison in the back of them, so if an animal eats them and bites into them, it will kill them. Now, because you guys know how animals evolve certain ways? We have a snake in Michigan called the eastern hognose snake that has teeth in the back of its throat that are designed specifically to eat toads. Like a big toad, like garter snakes will eat toads and that, but they have a tough time because when a toad inflates itself and uses those parotoid glands, it's tougher for it to eat it. But a hognose snake can actually puncture those glands with its back throat as they constrict. And all of a sudden these big fat toads that you've seen kind of inflate themselves, I don't know if you guys have ever seen how they flatten out. All of a sudden they just shrivel right up, and the snakes aren't harmed by the parotoid gland. It's fine. They can land a long ways and be fine.
Yeah, they're fine. He looks a little dazed.
So they're actually called, that's the American toad. We have two species of toad in Michigan, American toad and Fowler's toad. After we let the toad go, we were lucky enough to find one more skink.
Just went under here. What? Something just went under here.
Seriously?
Yeah, dead serious.
Like a little skink?
Rejuvenated.
No,
See the tail?
Yeah. Is that a boy or
See
a
how
girl?
thicker right there?
Isn't that
Both of them. I think what's going on, you guys, in all honesty, is just it hasn't been warm enough up here for long enough for these guys to really go into their coloration. They get bland for the winter, you know, so they can kind of bury and hibernate, and I mean, there's just no coloration there.
After letting that second skink go, we decided we'd head back to the house. We knew we had a big day the next day, so we thought we'd go back and relax a bit.
Where are we going?
Where are we going? Today!
Where are we going after we find a female skink?
Well, hopefully we'll find this female skink. There's no guarantee, but if just spend 5 minutes, I'll flip over a couple logs. So I really want to be able to show that blue tail. Our next stop will be, there's a restaurant down the way where Sturgeon for Tomorrow holds a public tour to learn more about the sturgeon, as the guarding program is going on right now. And once again, they're called Sturgeon for Tomorrow. We're going to meet up with them, and we're actually going to join the tour this year, which is really cool because last year our focus was really more on the study and research of the sturgeon, not as much about protecting them and the rehabilitation program. So this year we'll learn more about that. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't cooperating in our search for skinks, so we decided to head over to the place to meet up with Sturgeon for Tomorrow so we could go on the tour with them.
We've been around now since 1999 that we incorporated, and primarily our mission is to assist fisheries managers in the rehabilitation of Lake Sturgeon, which Lake Sturgeon are threatened in the state of Michigan. They do exist in about 20 states in the Midwest. And some are actually extirpated, which means they don't exist anymore in watersheds. And so worldwide there are 25 species of sturgeon. There are 7 species native to the U.S., but all species worldwide are in decline, mostly because of poaching, pollution, dams that fragment rivers where they can't return to their natal stream to spawn. And but we have a pretty robust population here in Black Lake. We're pretty proud of it. You know, the lake sturgeon, you know, they're a living fossil. They can grow to be 8 feet in length, weigh over 200 pounds, and females can live to be 150 years old. But yeah, each year, when the water gets about 55 to 60 degrees, you'll see this annual migration. They're also over in the Indian River, and soon will be also in the Sturgeon River as well. But they migrate upstream and they spawn in known spawning sites. And during that time, they're quite vulnerable to poaching. And about 20 years ago, we learned that there was an inordinate amount of poaching going on of these animals. And we felt very strongly that, you know, on our watch, we didn't want to see that continue to happen. And so we started a guarding program, which is going on right now. You'll see that when you arrive. On the river, and the guarding program is really just volunteers from throughout the Great Lakes, other states as well, the Midwest, that will come here just to really view the sturgeon because they're quite iconic, and seeing them is just something.
Mr. Ashley, where are we on our way to right now?
Well, Brenda's taken us, and actually a huge group, over to the Black River, where we will possibly be at the same site we were at last year, maybe a different site. But we're gonna actually, hopefully, get to see them catch a sturgeon, tag a sturgeon, and maybe even get up close with one, so that we can get some good video of it and see their specific physical traits. As we made our way down the bank to the river, it was very clear that there were a lot of people out here to learn more about the sturgeon.
What happens is when all the spawning occurs, and they collect eggs and milk from the adults, they take them back to the hatchery where we're going to go, and then they rear the fish out. They also the eggs will hatch, begin to drift. Those are collected, some of those are collected, and then those fish are taken back to the hatchery to stock out later in the fall of Mullitor and Black Lake.
After Brenda gave the group a great overview about the Sturgeon for Tomorrow program, as well as some of the research that's going on the river, Dr. Kim Scribner came up and started talking a lot more about the history of the program here on the Black River.
And you'll see this river right here. I mean, it's really beautiful here looking out at it today, but it's really kind of atypical from a lot of the rivers that sturgeon spawn in. They spawn typically in larger, non-wadable streams, and thus it's really hard to get your handle on a lot of individuals, right, to really get fundamental information on the ecology of the fish. And so because we use divers, and because the river is shallow, wadable, and the fish essentially spawn only in about 2 kilometers of stream, we're able to handle almost every single adult every year. Incredible amount of information. So we've been here for 15 years, and we have captures and recaptures of almost 1,200 individuals, almost the entire adult spawning population that lives in the lake. We've sampled and we've collected information on this. So the information that we collect and the way that we could identify these as individuals is, and you probably do this with your pets, these passive integrated transponder tags, these things that you put under the skin of your pets, and these things have a 15-digit code. And so every single fish that we have in here is marked with 2 of these devices, one here in the pectoral fin and one dorsally. And we have passive pit tag stations at 2 different locations. Anytime a fish with a tag passes it, we get a readout of when that fish enters the river, when the fish enters the spawning area, how long it stays here, the group composition, etc. So we have a really nice set of historical information year by year of what individuals do. And it turns out with that information, we found that there are two different spawning runs of fish. There are fish that spawn early, there are fish that spawn late, and they always spawn early and late. It's very, very habitual. If we catch an early spawning fish in the first part of May, we're going to always catch that fish in May. So there are two different populations, which is really kind of interesting.
It was very cool to be able to watch these researchers at work with the sturgeon. After a little while, we were even lucky enough to be able to conduct an interview with Dr. Scribner.
Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here with Dr. Scribner. Have there been any different research changes since last year?
Well, the research that we do involves some new work every year. We have new projects. This year we have a couple of new graduate students that are starting that are doing some things, and then we're doing a lot of things that we've done every year for 15 years, right? So there's a continuous long-term database on larval production, numbers of adults, sex ratios of adults, the timing of when they enter the river, the ecological conditions associated with spawning timing and those things. But the couple of the new projects we have, one is associated with fish passage. It's a really important issue for sturgeon and other fish species because most rivers, or at least large rivers, that fish from the Great Lakes try to come and spawn and have dams associated with them, right? So they can't reach their natural spawning habitats, and without the availability of spawning habitat, the natural recruitment of these populations is really low. And so for lake sturgeon, they're trying to devise several different strategies, potentially passing adults over dams, allowing the fish to spawn, and then providing safe passage for the adults back. The question is, well, if you do that, will the larvae and the juveniles that are produced, will they come back to the Great Lakes, or will they stay in the dam? We're also doing projects on survivorship of small little fish and levels of predation. So what fish, crayfish, other things in the river eat small little sturgeon. So we do a diet analysis. We use genetics data to look at diet determination, and we're measuring the abundance of species and which species are eating small sturgeon. So we're actually quantifying the loss of larval sturgeon and which species of fish are responsible.
Okay, and how are the numbers of sturgeon this year compared to previous years?
Well, it's a little early to tell. We're only halfway through the season, and we've caught, I think, about 150 fish. We usually catch between 240 and 260 fish a year. So we've just started catching fish about 10 days, and so really hard to tell right now. But, it could be a very short season, and we could be on schedule, or we could have a few more this year than we have in years past. So a little too early to tell.
All right, thank you for having us back again this year. It was good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
Hey guys, I'm here with Brenda, who is the president of the Sturgeon for Tomorrow Foundation. And so, could you tell me a little bit more about what this foundation is?
Yeah, Sturgeon for Tomorrow is a nonprofit organization that we started in 1999, and the primary purpose is to assist fisheries managers in the rehabilitation of Lake Sturgeon, because Lake Sturgeon have been around for millions of years, but yet since the Industrial Revolution over about 100 years ago, the populations worldwide were in such decline that we wanted to be able to do something about it, because here at Black Lake, they're a part of our culture. We've lived with these sturgeon for many, many moons, and they're very sacred to us. We initially started the guarding program just to be visible and low-key, to be on the river and just deter poaching. And so we, get volunteers to spend time on the river. And it's quite a sight to see these big fish right at your feet, and they're just iconic. And to think that they swam with the dinosaurs is just something, and it's beautiful watching spring come to life. And while we're there, early on, say 2000, 15 years ago, we're like, what better way to get your hands on the fish to collect biological data when they're in the river to spawn? And so we were able to leverage working with the Department of Natural Resources and universities to get researchers on the river to net and to tag them to collect data, to learn more about their reproductive ecology and their early life history, and what can we do to help them survive and thrive. And at the end of the day, I think it's really about relationships that not only that you build with nature and the fish, but also with the people. And I really think that is what brings the intrinsic value to what we have here. it's kind of like the glue that kind of binds us together.
So, for all the viewers out there, what is something that they can do in order to help the sturgeon?
What they can do is become a member of Sturgeon for Tomorrow. We have a website, sturgeonfortomorrow.org, and we have multiple different programs. There's a lot of information on our site. You can be a sturgeon guard. You can participate in our banquets. Sturgeon in the Classroom is one of our large initiatives. And we have the Black Lake Sturgeon Chivalry, which is an ice carnival on Black Lake in the wintertime. And it's really an opportunity where people can come together and talk sturgeon, and it's also a fundraiser as well. And so I think it's just, the more that you learn, the more you're going to grow and appreciate the resource more.
All right, well, thank you.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate
you have
it.
safe travels, and you come back to see us.
All right.
While some of the students were with Brenda learning about the young sturgeon, myself and a few other students hung back, and we were able to check out this adult sturgeon that the divers caught.
This is kind of a small one, but little male.
Oh boy. There goes the dog.
Nope.
Come here.
Sometimes the males are a lot harder to catch.
Feistier. Frisky. He's pretty tired. We had him for a while.
Why would you guys say that they're tougher to catch, the males?
They're frisky.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's true. I guess you did just say that.
They're not as large.
Okay.
They're not as fat and pregnant, so.
Yep.
And they're real nimble underwater. They take one look at it and they just swim right around us.
Yeah. See his mouth, his little barbels.
You got that, Salini?
Oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Oh.
Hold him up there for a second.
Oh, he's gonna get you.
Now, sometimes they'll let you bring their mouth out, but he's not playing.
Nope.
So what are the things dangling down from his
They're
chin
called
then?
barbels, and they use them to kind of feel the bottom, and they're bottom feeders.
Okay.
They really can't see very well. You can get really close before they notice you.
Yep. Snails, clams, crayfish, night crawlers, worms.
Yep, so they can't bite you. They got a big sucker.
Yeah, there you go. Get his mouth.
You see them? Comes out like that.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he's not very happy.
I've been doing this for over a decade, and last year was the first time I ever saw one feeding with his mouth extended.
Oh, wow.
We've actually seen a couple in the river this year eating other eggs.
Yeah,
of sturgeon.
that was kind of unusual.
Oh, really?
Kind of peculiar. So.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna let him go. I'll pick him up one more time for you guys. You can see. Bye.
He was friendly.
Nicely
Waved
done.
to us.
Billy.
Are they fast swimmers?
What's your video personality?
Are they fast swimmers?
They can be. Yeah. Normally they're not very fast, but when they get spooked, they take off.
Well, that was really cool. We actually just got to be right down there with the biologists as they were, netting the sturgeon and see it up close again this year. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to move down the river a little bit, and we are going to get to fly the copter over the water and get some shots of the river, and hopefully find some amphibian life along this river. I know that there's some different species of frogs here, green frogs and leopard frogs I found in the past along this river. So we'll check around for those. Maybe we'll get lucky and find something. I'd love to find a mink frog here, but who knows? Like I said before, they're supposed to be just in the UP. So let's see what we can find. Is this it? I don't think this is it, you guys. It does look cool. I'm okay exploring it.
We found a nice open area on the river and started searching along the bank. It was absolutely beautiful out here, and it sure didn't take us long before we found our first species of frog.
So at least I have my camera. Is he buried on the grass?
No, he's well.
Is he in the water?
No, he's right there.
Oh, I got him. He's a leopard frog. That's awesome. Leopard. They rely on camouflage. Yeah, I just can't get him on the camera. I gotta figure out where he's at. There he is. Salini was just walking and found a northern leopard frog sitting there. And the reason they're called the leopard frogs is because of those spots. They actually blend in with the ground. In fact, he hasn't moved at all. When you get close, watch how far he jumps. Rachel's gonna try to catch him. This is actually probably about a 2-year-old
leopard frog, not a full size by any means. And she's going to go for it, and she's going to miss. But watch how fast he jumps.
Oh dang, he just went out of the water.
Yep, they shoot right down in the... Does anyone know exactly where he went?
Yeah, he went...
Although we lost that leopard frog, we did find another species of frog not too long after.
Caught a green frog as well, and one of the reasons I wanted to show this is because right away I noticed that it had the white throat, and the tympanum is actually about the same size as the eye, which that tells me that this is actually a female. So it's nice to be able to see the two different ones and show the difference. And I don't know if some of you guys just noticed the way when the eye there, it started to bring up its lid. Did you guys notice that when they go underwater?
Yeah, yeah, they have like a clear thing.
A protective, yep, protective coating or lens cover that comes
I think alligators have the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly. He probably went under the dirt here. See if you guys see him swimming out here. Oh, there he is. See him right in front of you?
Oh yeah.
Where?
Right coming up.
He's so little.
Happy little fella.
I can't hold him the same way. Like,
yeah.
That's awesome.
What kind of frog is that?
That's a juvenile leopard frog. So it's a northern leopard frog, but I'm calling it a juvenile because it's, I mean, we're talking a year old basically. Would have went through metamorphosis last year, and
oh man,
survived the winter, which is great. Those guys might want to see this. That's pretty cool.
Although we did find one more northern leopard frog there along the bank, I really wanted to be able to tell the students more about the difference between a mink frog and a green frog. Although I might not find a mink frog, I was pretty confident I knew of a place where we were guaranteed to find a green frog.
Team Reptile. Sling, there's one right here.
Like, you need to come over here.
Yeah, he's sticking his head right here. Go over it.
Slow.
Where is he? Where is he?
Right there.
Oh, there he is.
1, 2.
All right, anyway, Selene just caught a frog, and most of the time, the frogs that we catch here in the lower peninsula of Michigan that look like this are, you just look at them right away and you go, okay, that's a green frog. And honestly, looking at this, it probably is just a green frog. But we have mink frogs in the UP that look very similar to a green frog, and sometimes in the past I found hybrids of the green frog and the mink frog, and they find some of those up in the UP as well. One of the best ways to tell is looking at the toes and basically the hinges of the legs right there. You can see where the toe pad, I don't know if anybody can get in on that, it doesn't extend far enough for it to be a mink frog. The best way to check though, for me to be sure, is to do this. Sniff it. Might look strange, but when you sniff these, a mink frog will smell like a skunk. When you get that close, they release this musk that's really nasty smell. And so if you sniff in the hind leg area and you smell that musky smell, that skunk smell, you'll know it's a mink frog. So this is definitely a green frog. I can tell it's a male by a couple different things. One, the yellow throat is a good indicator that it's a male. But the other way to tell is the external eardrum, which is called the tympanum. Because it's larger than the eye, that tells you it's an indication that it is a male of the species. So that's the same with bullfrogs and a lot of the pond frogs, as we'd call them here in Michigan.
Julia, where's the frogs?
Hi, buddy.
I've seen bigger.
This is the Michigan lake frog, but it's on a river and not a lake.
After everybody had a chance to check out the green frog, we decided to let it go. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Team Reptile's My Wildlife Adventures.